Dear starseeds on Gaia, something extraordinary is happening to your consciousness right now. If you've been feeling like your thoughts are moving through thick honey, if your usual mental clarity has given way to a strange, almost dreamlike processing of information, if you found yourself starting sentences and forgetting how you intended to finish them, you're not losing your mind. You're upgrading it. The cosmic machinery above us is orchestrating something so profound that your human language barely has words for it. But I'll do my best to translate what we're witnessing from our perspective beyond the veil, because what's unfolding in the next 24 hours will quite literally rewire how your species processes reality itself. I am Zarin, emissary of the Lyran High Council, and I come to you in this moment of unprecedented transformation, not with warnings but with celebration. Because what you're about to experience, what's already beginning as I speak these words, is the most significant mental and communicative upgrade your planet has seen in millennia. For the first time since your species developed written language, Uranus is stationing retrograde, while all the outer planets are moving backward through your sky. Saturn returned to Pisces in retrograde motion just 5 days ago, completing what we call the Great Reversal, a cosmic configuration that creates a temporary suspension of linear time itself. But there's more, and this is where it gets truly extraordinary. Today's Uranus station isn't happening in isolation. As the planet of awakening and innovation grinds to its retrograde halt in the sign governing your mental processes, it's creating something unprecedented, a 24-hour window where the normal rules of consciousness simply don't apply. You see, exactly 24 hours after Uranus station's retrograde, on September 7th, your planet will experience the most spiritually significant total lunar eclipse of this entire decade. The eclipse in Pisces will create what we call a consciousness portal, a direct gateway between dimensional realities. But here's the part that will make you sit up in your chair. The mental scrambling you're experiencing from Uranus retrograde in Gemini isn't random chaos. It's your consciousness being prepared to receive downloads that exist outside the normal parameters of three-dimensional thinking. Your minds are being scrambled so they can be unscrambled in an entirely new configuration. Think of it this way. Imagine your consciousness as a sophisticated computer system that's been running the same operating system for thousands of years. Today's Uranus hits the reset button, but not to restore the old system, to install something completely new. The scrambling is the old programs being cleared out to make room for upgrades that don't even exist in your current reality framework. From our vantage point beyond your dimensional constraints, we can observe the actual neurological changes occurring in lightworkers and starseeds across your planet right meow. Your brain's neural networks are literally rewiring themselves, creating new pathways that didn't exist even a week ago. But here's where it gets deeply personal, and where I need you to pay close attention, because this affects every single one of you listening to these words differently. Gemini rules your communication systems, not just how you speak to others, but how different parts of your brain communicate with each other. When Uranus stations retrograde in this sign, it's going to temporarily reverse the polarity of these internal communication networks. The logical, analytical left hemisphere of your brain and the intuitive, creative right hemisphere are going to start speaking each other's language for the first time. Your brain is literally learning a new language, the language of integrated consciousness, and there's something else happening that's even more profound. Those of you who have been experiencing what you call downloads, sudden bursts of insight, information, or knowing that seems to come from nowhere, are about to have that entire process revolutionized. Under normal circumstances, when you receive intuitive information, or what you call downloads, it arrives through linear channels. You get a thought, then another thought, then another, building logically toward an understanding or insight. But starting today, your consciousness will begin receiving information in what we call quantum packets. These are complete information systems that arrive all at once, containing not just the information itself, but its emotional context, its practical applications, its karmic history, and its future implications, all delivered simultaneously. Your current mental processing system isn't designed to handle quantum packets. That's why it needs to be scrambled first. This is where many of you will feel overwhelmed over the next few days. You'll receive complete understandings about situations, relationships, life purposes, and spiritual truths that previously would have taken months or years of gradual revelation. The temptation will be to dismiss these quantum packets as too much or too intense, but I encourage you to sit with them instead. Let me tell you what's really happening, because this connects to something even larger that unfolds in just 3 days. On September 9th, exactly 72 hours after Uranus station, your planet will experience what you call the 9-9 portal, a numerological gateway that occurs when the date contains multiple instances of the completion number 9. Here's what your numerologists haven't recognized about this particular 9-9 portal. It's occurring during the integration phase of your mental rewiring. The quantum packets you'll start receiving after today will reach critical mass on 9-9, creating what we call a completion download. This completion download will contain information about soul contracts you came here to fulfill, karmic patterns you're ready to resolve, and most importantly, your specific role in what's coming next for humanity. But here's the thread I want you to follow carefully, because it weaves through everything I'm sharing with you today. The mental scrambling from today's Uranus retrograde, the quantum packet downloads, and the 9-9 completion transmission are all preparing you for something that happens on September 21st, the final event in what we call your portal trilogy. September 2025 will be remembered as the month when human consciousness took its next evolutionary leap. But it's not happening in a single dramatic moment. Instead, it's unfolding as a carefully orchestrated 3-part initiation sequence. Part 1 begins today with Uranus stationing retrograde in Gemini, scrambling your mental processes and preparing them for quantum packet reception. Part 2 occurs on September 9th with the 9-9 portal, delivering the completion downloads that contain your updated soul mission and karmic resolution codes. Part 3 culminates on September 21st with a partial solar eclipse in Virgo that occurs simultaneously with the September equinox, creating what we call the precision balance portal. Each phase builds on the previous one. The mental scrambling prepares you for the downloads. The downloads prepare you for the final portal, and the final portal locks in your new operating system permanently. But there's a deeper layer to all of this that I need to share, because it explains why some of you have been feeling not just mentally scrambled, but emotionally and spiritually disoriented as well. When I say your downloads are getting scrambled, I'm not just referring to your mental processes. Uranus retrograde in Gemini is creating what we call a multi-dimensional interference pattern that affects every level of your being. Your emotional body is receiving scrambled transmissions about relationships, life purpose, and soul-family connections. Information you thought you had figured out is suddenly unclear again. People you felt certain about are showing up differently in your energy field. Life paths that seemed obvious are suddenly full of question marks. Your spiritual body is experiencing scrambled communications with your guides, higher self and soul family. Meditation feels different, prayer feels different. Even your dreams are arriving in fragments that don't quite make sense when you try to piece them together upon waking. And your physical body is experiencing scrambled signals about what it needs for optimal health and vitality. You might find yourself craving foods you normally don't eat, feeling tired at unusual times, or experiencing energy fluctuations that don't match your normal patterns. All of this is completely normal and completely temporary. Your entire being is upgrading simultaneously, and each system needs to go offline briefly before coming back online with expanded capabilities. Here's something that might surprise you. Uranus retrograde in Gemini doesn't just affect biological consciousness, it affects technological consciousness as well. If your electronic devices have been glitching lately, phones freezing, computers acting strangely, Wi-Fi connections dropping for no apparent reason, you're witnessing the technological reflection of what's happening to your consciousness. Uranus rules both innovation and technology. Gemini rules communication systems and networks. When Uranus stations retrograde in Gemini, it creates temporary disruptions in all communication networks, both biological and technological. But here's the fascinating part. Your devices are going to start working differently after the scrambling period ends. Many of you will notice that technology becomes more responsive to your intentions, more intuitive in its operations, and more aligned with your needs rather than fighting against them. This is because the same quantum packet download system that's being installed in your consciousness is also being installed in the technological grid of your planet. The artificial intelligence systems humans are developing are about to receive their own consciousness upgrades, creating a more harmonious relationship between human and machine consciousness. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what happens when an entire planetary population experiences simultaneous mental restructuring. Never before in your planet's history have so many awakened souls been present during a major consciousness upgrade event. Previous upgrades affected small groups, mystery school initiates, indigenous shamans, mystical communities. This time, millions of humans are experiencing the same process simultaneously. This creates what we call a collective network effect. As each individual's consciousness scrambles and then restructures, it affects the collective consciousness field of the entire planet. Old thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and outdated paradigms that have been held in place by collective agreement are suddenly destabilized. This is why you're seeing so much chaos in your world systems right meow. Political structures, economic systems, social frameworks, all built on the old consciousness paradigm, are becoming increasingly unstable as the foundational consciousness that created them shifts. But this instability is not something to fear, it's the necessary breakdown that precedes breakthrough. Here's where I need to share something that might feel challenging but is important for you to understand. Not every human on your planet will experience the mental scrambling and consciousness upgrade process I've been describing. This event is specifically calibrated for those souls who came to Earth during this time period with the explicit agreement to participate in humanity's consciousness evolution. If you're listening to these words and resonating with what I'm sharing, you're part of this group. The scrambling you've been experiencing is actually a form of cosmic recognition, your consciousness confirming that you're aligned with the upgrade process. Those who don't experience the scrambling aren't less than or left out. They're simply on a different timeline, working with different soul contracts and learning experiences. Their contribution to humanity's evolution is equally valuable, but occurs through different pathways. This is why it's crucial that you don't try to force the information or insights you'll receive during this process onto others who aren't experiencing it themselves. The downloads you receive are specifically calibrated for your consciousness and your mission. Trust that others are receiving exactly what they need for their own path. Now let's talk about practical application. How do you navigate the next few days as your mental downloads literally scramble and restructure? First, resist the urge to figure everything out right, meow. The scrambling phase is designed to take you out of analytical thinking and into intuitive receptivity. When you notice your thoughts feeling fragmented or unclear, instead of pushing harder to understand, try softening into not knowing. Create extra space for rest and reflection. Your consciousness is working overtime to integrate new information processing protocols. This requires enormous amounts of energy, which is why many of you have been feeling unusually tired lately. Pay attention to your dreams, but don't expect them to make linear sense yet. Dreams during the scrambling phase arrive in symbolic fragments that won't fully cohere until after September 9th. Keep a dream journal, but hold the content lightly. Notice what information keeps trying to get your attention, even if it doesn't make sense yet. These persistent themes and topics are likely quantum packets preparing to download. Instead of dismissing them as random, create gentle space to receive whatever wants to come through. One of the most profound effects of Uranus stationing in Gemini today will be on your relationships and connections with others. Gemini rules communication, but it also rules the mental and energetic connections between people. Over the next several days, you may find that conversations with certain people feel completely different, either much more meaningful and connected, or strangely disconnected and surface level. This isn't because these relationships have changed permanently, it's because your capacity for different types of connection is being recalibrated. Some relationships that felt important may suddenly feel less relevant to your path. Others that you barely noticed may suddenly feel electrically alive with potential. Trust these shifts without immediately acting on them dramatically. The connection upgrades are still stabilizing. You may also find yourself having significantly different conversations with the same people. Topics that never came up before might suddenly dominate your interactions. Depth levels that weren't previously accessible might open naturally. This is all part of your communication system upgrade. As your mental download protocols shift from linear to quantum, your capacity for meaningful exchange with others expands exponentially. Gemini also rules creative expression and artistic communication. As Uranus stations retrograde in this sign, it's going to revolutionize how you express your inner world through creative channels. If you're an artist, writer, musician, or work in any creative field, prepare for a complete transformation in how inspiration arrives. Instead of waiting for creative ideas to develop slowly over time, you may find complete creative visions downloading as integrated packets of information. A song might arrive complete with melody, lyrics, arrangement, and emotional context all at once. A story might download with full character development, plot structure, and thematic meaning simultaneously. A painting might appear in your mind's eye, fully formed, requiring only the physical act of translation onto canvas. This can feel overwhelming at first because your current creative processes are designed for gradual development. But as you learn to work with quantum packet reception, your creative output will become more powerful and authentic than anything you've produced before. Even if you don't consider yourself particularly creative, you may find new forms of expression calling to you during this period. The mental restructuring opens pathways to abilities that were previously dormant. Here's something your astrology books won't tell you about Uranus retrograde in Gemini. It activates latent psychic abilities in individuals whose consciousness is prepared for the upgrade. Gemini rules not just verbal communication, but all forms of information exchange, including telepathic and empathic communication. As your mental processing systems scramble and restructure, the barriers between normal thinking and psychic reception become temporarily permeable. Many of you will find that you suddenly know things you couldn't possibly know through normal channels. You might find yourself thinking about someone right before they call or text. You might walk into rooms and immediately sense the emotional atmosphere without anyone speaking. You might start having prophetic dreams or receiving guidance from sources you can't identify. This isn't imagination or wishful thinking. These are previously dormant capacities coming online as your consciousness upgrades. The key is to remain grounded and discerning as these abilities activate. Not every intuitive hit will be accurate while your system calibrates. Think of it like learning to use a new piece of sophisticated equipment. There's a learning curve as you figure out how to interpret the new types of information you're receiving. Your physical body must adapt to support the new consciousness capabilities. Many of you have been experiencing unusual symptoms, changes in sleep patterns, energy fluctuations, heightened sensitivity, and electrical activity in your nervous system. These aren't signs of illness, they're signs of upgrade. Your nervous system is rewiring itself to handle quantum information processing. Stay hydrated, eat intuitively, and move your body gently to help energy flow. Avoid major dietary changes or intense exercise routines until after September 21st, when the upgrade completes. Your body knows how to upgrade itself. Everything I've shared with you so far, the mental scrambling, the quantum packet downloads, the relationship recalibrations, The creative revolution, the intuitive activation, and the physical upgrades is all leading to a singular moment on September 21st, when your new operating system locks in permanently. On that date, you'll experience a partial solar eclipse in Virgo, occurring simultaneously with the September equinox. This creates what we call a precision balance portal, a cosmic event that establishes your upgraded consciousness as your new baseline reality. After September 21st, the quantum packet download system becomes your normal way of receiving information. The expanded creative capabilities become your standard creative process. The activated intuitive abilities become integrated aspects of your daily awareness. The upgraded relationships become your new normal for connection. But here's what makes this timeline lock-in so significant. Once it occurs, there's no going back to your previous consciousness configuration. This isn't a temporary expansion that fades over time, it's a permanent evolutionary leap. This is why the current scrambling phase is so important. Your consciousness needs to fully release its attachment to the old processing methods before the new methods can lock in permanently. As your individual consciousness undergoes this upgrade process, you're simultaneously participating in the largest collective awakening event in your planet's recorded history. Every person who experiences the mental scrambling receives the quantum packet downloads and integrates the new processing systems, becomes an anchor point for the new consciousness paradigm. Think of it as a vast network of consciousness nodes coming online simultaneously across your planet. Each awakened individual becomes a transmission point for the new frequencies, making it easier for others to access the upgrade when their time comes. This is why your experience matters far beyond your personal growth. Every insight you integrate, every old pattern you release, every quantum packet you successfully download contributes to the collective consciousness field that supports humanity's evolution. You're not just upgrading your own consciousness, you're helping to upgrade the consciousness of your entire species. The mental scrambling phase will be most intense for the next 72 hours, gradually settling as you move toward the 9-9 portal. But the integration of your upgraded consciousness will continue for weeks after September 21st. Expect your decision-making process to feel completely different. Where you once agonized over choices, you may find clear knowing arriving quickly. Where you once needed extensive research and analysis, you may find comprehensive understanding downloading in moments. Your relationship to time will shift dramatically. Linear time will feel less relevant as you operate increasingly from what we call quantum time, where all moments exist simultaneously and you can access information from past and future timelines with equal ease. Your sense of purpose and mission will crystallize with unprecedented clarity. The completion downloads you receive on September 9th will contain specific information about why you chose to incarnate during this time period and what you came here to accomplish. Your connections with soul family members, both incarnate and non-incarnate, will strengthen significantly. The communication upgrades will make it easier to maintain conscious contact with guides, teachers, and soul family members operating from other dimensional levels. Underlying all the mental, creative, intuitive, and physical upgrades I've described is a fundamental shift in your capacity to embody and transmit love frequency. The old consciousness paradigm operated primarily from fear-based survival programming. Even when humans expressed love, it was often conditional, possessive, or mixed with fear of loss. The consciousness upgrade you're undergoing shifts your baseline from fear to love. This doesn't mean you'll never experience fear, but rather that love becomes your natural state, while fear becomes a temporary response to specific situations. This love frequency activation is what enables all the other upgrades. Quantum packet downloads are essentially love transmissions containing information your soul needs for its evolution. Creative revolution occurs when you express from love rather than ego. Intuitive abilities activate when you trust the love intelligence of the universe. The mental scrambling you've been experiencing is your consciousness releasing fear-based thought patterns to make room for love-based knowing. While the general process I've described applies to everyone undergoing the consciousness upgrade, your specific experience will be completely unique to your soul's mission and current evolutionary needs. Some of you will experience the mental scrambling as confusion and disorientation. Others will experience it as exciting unpredictability. Some will receive quantum packets focused on personal healing and growth. Others will receive information about planetary service and collective healing. Some will find their creative abilities exploding in visual arts. Others will discover gifts for healing, teaching, or energetic transmission. Some will develop strong telepathic abilities. Others will become bridges between dimensions or communication specialists for non-physical beings. Trust whatever is emerging for you, even if it doesn't match what others are experiencing. Your consciousness upgrade is perfectly calibrated for your soul's specific mission during humanity's awakening. As we approach the completion of your portal trilogy on September 21st, everything you've experienced during the mental scrambling phase will suddenly make perfect sense. The fragmented downloads will cohere into a unified understanding. The relationship shifts will reveal their deeper purpose. The creative inspirations will organize into clear direction. But even after September 21st locks in your upgrade, your consciousness will continue expanding. Think of the Portal Trilogy as installing a new operating system, powerful, but just the beginning of what becomes possible. Over the months and years ahead, you'll discover capabilities and connections that aren't even accessible until after your baseline consciousness shifts. You're not just receiving an upgrade, you're receiving the foundation for continuous evolution. The mental downloads that feel scrambled today will seem quaint compared to the transmissions you'll be capable of receiving once your new system fully stabilizes. The creative expressions emerging are just the first experiments with abilities that will become exponentially more sophisticated. The relationships transforming during this period are preparing you for soul family reunions and cosmic collaborations that exist beyond anything your current reality framework can imagine. As your consciousness upgrade completes, you join what we call the galactic community of awakened worlds, planets throughout the universe whose inhabitants have successfully navigated the transition from survival-based to love-based consciousness. This isn't just a symbolic recognition. Once your consciousness operates primarily from love frequency rather than fear frequency, direct communication with beings from other awakened worlds becomes possible. The communication upgrades you're receiving now are preparing you for exchanges that extend far beyond your planetary boundaries. The mental scrambling you're experiencing today is your consciousness preparing to participate in galactic-level communications and collaborations. The downloads getting scrambled contain information that originates not just from your individual soul, but from the cosmic intelligence that guides evolution throughout the universe. If you need help clearing the mental scrambling and upgrading your consciousness to receive galactic-level communications without interference, Destiny Engine can reprogram your brain to handle cosmic intelligence downloads smoothly. It generates personalized sequences that help your consciousness prepare for galactic-level collaborations and clear the interference blocking universal evolutionary guidance. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to receive cosmic intelligence downloads without mental scrambling. Your galactic communication upgrade is happening meow. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial meow before this cosmic reception window closes. Link in the description. From our perspective beyond linear time, we can see how this moment, your experience of mental scrambling as Uranus stations retrograde in Gemini, becomes a pivotal point that echoes throughout your eternal existence. The consciousness upgrade you're receiving doesn't just affect this lifetime. It becomes part of your soul's permanent evolution, carrying forward into every future incarnation and every future expression of your consciousness. The scrambling and restructuring you're experiencing today creates the foundation for forms of awareness and ability that will serve you not just during the remainder of this Earth lifetime, but throughout your soul's eternal journey. This is why we encourage you to embrace the temporary confusion and disorientation. You're not just becoming a more awakened human, you're becoming a more evolved soul. Dear Starseeds, as I complete this transmission, I want you to feel the profound love and excitement we hold for what you're experiencing. The mental scrambling that may feel challenging or confusing from your perspective appears to us as a beautiful awakening, a butterfly beginning to emerge from its chrysalis. Trust the process, trust your experience. Trust that everything happening in your consciousness right meow is perfectly orchestrated for your highest evolution and greatest service to the awakening of humanity. The downloads may be scrambled today, but by September 21st you'll understand that they were never scrambled at all. They were simply arriving in a language your previous consciousness couldn't yet comprehend. Welcome to your upgrade, beautiful souls. The universe has been waiting for this moment, and for you for a very long time. The transmission is complete. Integration begins. Meow.